Good afternoon, everyone. I hope your year is off to a great start. I wanted to send out a quick video to give you an update on our educator professional growth system. At this point in time, all of our staff have been added into Frontline, which was formerly called My Learning Plan. So just so you know, they're the same thing. Anyways, they've been assigned to their evaluator and all forms have been assigned to them. So we should be ready to go. As far as our educator professional growth system goes, there's a few adjustments that we're going to have to make in Frontline to help our system fit the software. With that being said, I want to take a moment here to show you how to do that. When you're beginning to have those initial conversations with the educators on summary year and you're having the conversation about which path is going to be right for them, the changes that will need to be made in Frontline really only have to do with this row right here, where it has to deal with observations, because that's really the big change on your end and on their end between both of these. So let's say, for example, that a summary year educator on path decides that they want, and you've approved that path C is best for them. What you'll need to do, and my suggestion is going to be to have Frontline up in your office when you're having that conversation with that particular educator, is to go into their name. You'll notice here on my list of people, this is my test teacher, and then all of their components come up, all the forms that they have to complete. Now, as a summary year person, I had to put in all of the components that they could possibly have, because with my learning plan or Frontline or whatever, anyways, with Frontline, it's easier to remove components than it is to add components all the way back in. So anyways, for that teacher who's in Path C or wants to do Path C, what you would need to do is you would need to remove the formal and the informal observation in this list of components. And let me just talk about this list real quick so that nothing seems too confusing, because it is different than what it was last year with the Danielson model. This particular form right here is the professional goal setting form. If you look underneath it, there's 4 different forms that need to be completed. This is where the teacher is going to complete their self-review all in one place. Their self-review, their SLO, and their PPG. Then they'll do a mid-interval review, and then they'll do an end-of-interval review for the SLO and the PPG, all done in the same spot, which is really very nice. This right here, the summative performance, is where you will evaluate them on the performance standards. This document right here is that third option for license renewal that we've been talking about that goes into effect to January 1st, 2018. I'll talk more about that later. And then here is where they'll do an analysis on the survey that they'll give their students and the results of that survey. So anyways, back to Path C. If the teacher decides and you decide that that's a good path for them, you need to get rid of this formal and this informal observation, because it's not something that they need to do. So how you do that is you just click on this little wheel right here, and you just type in a 0 and press submit, and voila, it magically disappears. Now let's say, and then you'd have to get rid of the informal one as well, but let's say that the teacher has decided that they want to go down Path B, and they want 2 of their informal observations to be with you as the principal and 1 to be like an instructional round. That means that you're going to have to add an informal observation for this particular teacher and of course remove the formal observation. So to add a component, you go to the wheel and you just put in 2. And then a second informal observation will show up for this particular educator. Now, as far as the instructional round goes, or these peer observations, they're going to have to upload some sort of reflection or notes that they might take on doing an instructional round into Frontline, and I'll complete a video for the teachers to be able to do that. And of course, you would have access to that artifact as well. So with that being said, that should be able to set you up pretty well for those initial conversations that you'll be having with those people in summary year. Something that you might notice on this document is that I had to change the name from Teacher Professional Growth System to Educator to just be more inclusive. That meant that I added Education Specialist Standards. I also added Educational Specialists Performance Appraisal Rubric information as well, and their performance indicators too behind the teacher ones. You'll see them right here. Just like I said, to be more inclusive so that we can just use one document for everybody. This is a section that you might find very useful. This just tells you the required components that you need to complete in this column as an evaluator. And then here is also a suggested timeline for completing those particular components in Frontline as well. All right, I hope to communicate like this more if we have things that we need to do in Frontline. And hopefully I'll be getting another video out here very shortly for the teachers so that they know how to go into Frontline on their end. Let me know if you have any questions, and hope you have a great week.